All right, welcome back everybody. I hope you enjoyed the last session, the panel about growth coming from people who actually walk the talk. And we're going to continue that way. Before I introduce our next panelists, I just want to remind everybody that there is the great pitch contest happening with over 50 startups pitching on stage. And this great pitch contest is being kindly supported and sponsored by our lovely sponsors, AI Startup Incubator, Plugin Foundation, Innovation World Cup Series, HubSpot, Navy Space, InnovX, BCR, SOSV, WireX, and Techstars. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. But without any further ado, yes, there you go. That's how we roll. To the sponsors. Yes. So we're going to continue. Hey, people happy here. We're going to continue now with another super exciting session coming again from practitioners, from people down in the trenches. And it's about how do we fuel the next generation of investors. And I'm super, super happy to invite on stage, and I'm going to start with the moderator, Daniel Dumitrescu from InnovX BCR. I want you guys to clap when they're coming. Woo! Hey, man. Corona high five.
Pitch,
boom.
That's why we have all the crowd here. I'll stay there.
You do that. Okay. Secondly, Mircea Moraro from International Law Firm CRM. Woo! That's the Corona high five. Boom. All right. Next on the line, Anna Bobirka, Central European Financial Services, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. You are definitely walking the talk. And Mihaela Todor, former Minister of EU Funds, Romania, ladies and gentlemen. We have a minister in the room.
I was gifted off, so.
Amazing. Wow, look at the energy. I'm already excited about this session. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, on the stage from the right corner, Nico Janso, National Intelligence. You guys enjoy yourself. If you need any coffee or water, I'm the guy. You are. Let's see.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. First of all, I would like also a round of applause for the Wolf Summit team that's here. Thank you to Michael, Rosie, Justine, and all the guys in the tech. So really, you've done a wonderful job gathering the entire ecosystem back here in person in Wroclaw, and I really like it. It's amazing, and you are doing a wonderful job. Okay, so I'm Daniel Dumitrescu from InnovX BCR, and today's panel is fueling the next generation of investors in Central and Eastern Europe. Apparently, there are so many startups and really ambitious, important startups in the region that we now also need to compensate with new investors in the area. And yes, today I have some really interesting persons here that support the InnovX BCR mission to foster innovation in the region. And I will start with Anna Bobirka, Chief Investment Officer at Central European Financial Services. She is also financial professor in advanced finance at Bucharest Academy of Economic Studies, Chairman of the Investment Committee in Business Capital for Romania Opportunity Fund, Vice President, Business Association of Romania, and also member of the board for the Financial Investment Society Oltenia SA, member in former InvestEU group, and now actively involved as representative of the business community in the negotiation and attraction of funds for the new generation of VCs in the region. Thank you, Anna, for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Then we have Mihaela Toader. Mihaela Toader, she's now county manager at the richest region in Romania, Ilfov region, former minister of European funds in Romania. She's a champion in negotiation of the EU budget with the European Commission, with the European Investment Fund. During the last period of the financial framework, she has a decisive input into drafting the grants program for research and development, and also for drafting the new financial instrument products, from subsidies to loans to VC. So thank you very much. We really look forward to your input in this panel. we go to Mircea Morar from CMS. Mircea is a Merger and Acquisition Counsel. And CMS is a top 3 global law and tax firm right now, leading venture capital advisor with innovative solution in CE. And it was just ranked #1 M&A law firm in Poland and CE. So thank you very much. Looking forward to the legal perspective on the investment area. Last but not least, we have Professor Nicu Iancu, President E22S2, Associate Professor on Security Studies and Risk Management, former Rector of the National Intelligence Academy with different key positions in the Romanian Intelligence Services, in the Minister of National Defense, and expert in international security and NATO. Thank you very much. Yeah. So this is the panel right now. We are talking about how to fuel the next generation of investors in CE, and why is that? We are not facing, let's say, a window of opportunity when there's a lot of money from the European Commission, from the European financial bodies, from national or regional bodies to incorporate venture capital funds. But let's see what is about the next generation, what we should do different about it, and how we can do it better and connect them with the startup that has the best potential to scale up in the region. So my first question will go to Anna. Thank you, Anna. You are an expert and you have a very good overview of the European realm and the Central European realm on venture capital. What do you think are the perspective of the investment and innovation ecosystem now in Central and Eastern Europe?
Thank you. Thank you very much, as I was saying, for having me. The vibe is very good, as you've seen. So I'm convinced that we are going to have fun also, not only get a lot of information and insight from this discussion. Just to go back to the CE ecosystem, I would say that it is evolving impressively in the last couple of years, despite the conditions. We see, for example, that 2020 has been the second best year in terms of fundraising, almost 700 million euros. We also see that it has been the second best year in investments, like 370 million euros invested in the CE region, in the VC space. I mean, so the numbers are not large compared to Europe. I think venture capital in CE, it's about 4% of the entire investments in the European VC. But still, we are coming from low numbers, so the dynamic is high. And there is scope for more, for sure. Geographically, I would say that the largest part of the investment in CE are actually coming from the CE region, from inside the region. And what would be quite useful to know is that government agencies, including IFIs, multilateral organizations, are significant investors in the region. Somewhere in the vicinity of 40% of the funds are coming from government agencies. There are some, let's say, features of the CE investment ecosystem that are standing out. And I would just, name a few, and maybe from here we can explore the topic further. We see, first of all, there are about 1 million developers in the CE region. 50% of them are located in Poland, Romania, and Czech Republic. So.
A great pool of tech talents in the region.
Right, impressive talent located here, literally here and in Romania. So there is a high potential there for new ideas. We see investments that are blossoming, and we actually see a new type, a new generation of entrepreneurs that are, bold, I would say, braver than before, and they have this global approach from the very beginning. We also see serial entrepreneurs that are recycling their money back into the system and are funding successive rounds of investments. We have some impressive success stories that have been mentioned yesterday, and I think they will be mentioned today and tomorrow too. So we are benefiting from these fabulous experiences and stories like UiPath, like EMAG, like Elephant in Romania, just to name the ones from Romania. I would say that we have this enabling environment like Innovix, who is helping a lot, and we see this because, and I think you're going to continue to see this in the pitching sessions currently and tomorrow. A number of the ingredients are there. We also see local venture funds developing. What is even more interesting is that we see international VC funds that are partnering with local ones and are co-investing together with them. And maybe we can elaborate further and discuss why this is happening. I will stop here just not to bore you too much.
Why is this happening, by the way?
I think this is happening because you know the investment rounds, the average investment round in Romania for VC funding is somewhere in the vicinity of 500,000. At CEE level, it's a bit larger, like 750. And if we look at the US, the financing rounds are like 5 times larger. So if we're talking about early stages but not pre-seed and seed, the tickets are significantly larger, so local funds would need an international partner to be able to finance larger tickets on one hand. On the other hand, what we see, and this is also very interesting, is that somehow in this very low interest rates environment and abundance of cash, money has started to follow investments. And VCs tend to cluster together to benefit from networking effects and positive externalities of the environment. So international VC funds are actually coming towards the entrepreneurs and the investments, and they establish either partnerships with local funds, or even they establish a local presence if that is rewarding for them.
And to complete what you said about the new generation of bolder entrepreneurs and serial entrepreneurs, also the success story of Central Eastern Europe, like UiPath entrepreneurs, are now the best ambassador for international VCs to come in the region.
Right.
And also it's interesting how some of them converted into investors. So it's another really interesting trend, and encouraging, other startups with scaling up potential somehow going on the same scaling path.
Indeed, I mean the success story of UiPath has actually had a lot of traction towards the Romanian market, especially. We actually needed that to catch up and to accelerate our growth. And we see this happening with other unicorns in Central and Eastern Europe. So this is an example that we followed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anna, we'll come back to you. Now going to Mihaela, I would like to see, I will give you the mic, the perspective of a public servant, of a former EU minister of EU funds. And now we've seen that more and more, especially in our region, the state bodies are involved in encouraging and fostering the financial investment realm. What financial opportunities are now available? Because we just changed, we are in a new EU financial budget. What is available now for investment, and how does regional authorities encourage this ecosystem, innovative and investment ecosystem?
Thank you, Danny. As you already said, the new financial exercise already has started in the beginning of this year. So important amounts of money are on the market or soon will be in different timings. We have a very good example. It's the reflow from a first try, let's say, that Romania has done in terms of using EU funds for financial instrument, and this is Jeremy. We have tried back in 2007, 2013 to support financial exercise with EU funds, which has proven to be a safety net for the absorption, because we realized that it was the money that brought very quick absorption. And then because we managed to create, let's say, a habit for the businesses, for the startups, especially for the startups, to look for the European money used through the financial instrument and not grants, which is something a little bit difficult to do if you are a startup. So we have Jeremy and the reflows. So this means that the instrument went extremely well. And out of 50 million euros with the reflows, we came up to 225 that are now, let's say, national money and reused for other types of instruments like equity, which was a big
And I'll
gain.
just say that actually this is, it shows the sustainability of using the
Yes.
European funds, the fact that now you can reuse them
Yes.
in more efficient ways than only on grants, even if there are some critics not giving all the money for grants. But it seems that actually it is quite a success way of using the European grants.
Yes, and I don't think that it's a competition. I think that it's a way of evolving, because if everybody understood back in 2007, 2013, it was the first financial exercise that, of course, the biggest amounts will go to the grants. Now I think that we can shift this approach and move towards financial instruments, and specifically towards equity, because it's a little bit unfair to go and to disturb the financial private financial system using public money. We shouldn't be doing that too often, but to take some risk. So in addition to Jeremy, which probably is the smallest amount, we have the National Resilience Plans, the famous, it's 1.3 billion euros financial exercise, financial instruments, out of which 400 equity, and then almost 700 million euros in the regular operational programs that soon will come and will tackle issues like innovation and supporting through financial instruments the technological transfer and proof of...
So it's clear if you also multiply with the catalyst effect of using European money for that, there will be also another income of money from the private sector that will add to this. So we might look to a very important amount of money in the investment realm in the next years.
Yes, for sure. All the financial instruments that we are using together with the EIF, and maybe this is one of the black spots that we have. Because we do not have a national development fund or national development bank, but hopefully we will have it. It's one of the reform in the National Resilience Plan, so let's hope. For now, institutionally, we have to use what exists on the market in Romania, which is EIF. They have done a good job. We manage for specific instruments to have 3-time, 4-time and leverage indicator percentage. So I think it's amazing looking at
a very good example of you using
yes.
public money. Indeed.
Yes, a very good example, and we have benefited from the guarantees that the state and the European Union are providing, and this is a safety net for any private investor, I think.
For sure. Thank you. Yeah, please, Anna.
Just add something here. I'm normally on the buy side, but I have this feeling that there is a strong selling point as regards these upcoming financing options. There is going to be a fund of funds set up in Romania from the Recovery and Resilience Program. Managed, let's say, by the European Investment Funds, and funds, a number of funds along the entire life cycle are going to be set up, and these are going to be regional funds.
So not only national
not
funds.
only Romanian funds that are
Which is
funding
an
only
interesting
local
shift, yeah.
companies, but also regional investments. So I think with the help of the Recovery and Resilience Plan, Romania is going to be able to catch up and accelerate this process even. And if we look in the region, we see that Poland and Hungary and even Bulgaria have followed the same route, with public money supporting the development of, especially of the VC ecosystem, which is considered to be in need for more subsidies coming from public funds. Thank you.
And we see now that in the region, in CEE, now there's a lot of deals, transaction in the VC world. And now going to Mircea Moraru, I know you are involved in the M&A deals in the region. As I said, CMS was ranked #1 in Poland and Central and Eastern Europe on the M&A transaction, and congratulations for this. Just to name one of them that I really am fond of this company, it's the investment of Vitruvian Partners in Bitdefender, a leading cybersecurity company from Bucharest. So M&A is also a form of exit for investors in the region. You are involved in this area. Can you tell me a little bit more about the trends in the M&A industry right now in our region?
Yes.
Thank you. Now going to the next speaker.
Look, it's funny, it's awkward. Everything was in lockdown. Well, M&A was not. And my wife can testify to that. I was more busy than the previous year. There's, I think, more or less the same number of deals, or there was the same number of deals last year, and there's an increase in the first half of this year. Last year, there was a slight decrease in value compared to the previous one. This year, not. And when we're talking about private equity and particularly about exits, there's a 40% increase in value of disclosed exits compared to last year already in the first half of this year. So it's awkward. Maybe it's awkward, but then again, people have to understand how these animals work. Yeah, they have a timeline. They have to sell to give the money back to the investors. There's a certain cycle. So there's no surprise there. I mean, obviously, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but there's no surprise there. Yeah, that things are going well, are going better. There may be some new opportunities now, since there's a focus on technology. Well, everyone is now looking at technology, on e-commerce maybe. So yes, things are doing better than expected, to be honest.
Which is really important for the ecosystem, and we've seen, especially in the tech realm, that the pandemic sometimes accelerated the growth, accelerated the investment rounds in this, and this is a really good thing. But still, investing in startups and venture capital is part of the risk finance, and investing is a risky business, especially talking with startups. And there's a lot of people wondered what is an expert of risk management in international security management doing in the innovation realm. And now going to Professor Nicu Iancu, thank you for being with us. I'm really impressed about your work in this area, and really happy that you joined the mission of Innovix BCR in the last 3 years. I'm really interested to know how we can somehow translate the know-how from this maybe challenging and not enough understood area in business, international security, risk management, into the venture capital world. So what's your view on this new risk finance in investments from your perspective?
First of all, thank you very much for having me. Mircea already addressed one of the most, let's say, challenging points we have in this business world. I mean, those time-consuming processes that bring also a lot of risk on the table. But coming back to your question, I would like to say that technology growth is challenging, including for investors. And that's a really complicated issue. It is why I'm going to address today only two major issues, in my view, that best describe how this risk management works in this kind of investment world. So firstly, I can say that we have to adapt human decision making mechanisms to technological game changers. Technology seems to be growing exponentially, but humans do not react exponential. Basically, we are linear. We first have to observe, we have to learn and understand, and after that we have to become functional with the newly acquired knowledge, and at the end we have to design and build a culture and a system to fully benefit from the new technology.
We are also facing like a technology paradox. There's a lot of technology, newborn technologies that appear, you have AI, and but so few of them are actually implemented in day-to-day life.
Yeah. My point here is that basically this is a social issue here, so it's not necessarily a technological one. Why that? Because as you said, there is a lot of technology surrounding us, but we have to adapt to that change. And the adapting process is a really complex one, and we should struggle to keep pace with the technological improvements. And this is the ground where I will best refer to investors, because investors would like to keep pace with the technological development speed, but in fact, the capacity of technology developers to keep that pace is not the same. It is why these kind of advancements happen in a very uncertain environment, and that kind of uncertainty brings a lot of risk on the table. And at the end, investors should embrace the uncertainty just to get the winning ticket, let's say, at the end of the day.
So yeah, investment, it's a risky business. Going back to Anna, what do you think are the missing pieces of this puzzle in CEE in order for our region to stand out in the investment map right now?
Yeah, there are some. I will mention a couple, I think. So, you know, if we intend to benefit from the full life cycle of startups and to actually have homegrown innovative companies, we need to finance the scale-up stage, the growth stage in their evolution. I had this conversation with some of your colleagues the other day, and they were mentioning exactly this. I think this is something that you have considered in Innovix, and it proves to be a successful model. So it is a financing gap recognized all over Europe, but especially in Central and Eastern Europe. The lack of growth stage capital in order to accompany these entrepreneurs along the life cycle of their ventures. So I would say that there is a need for more funds at different stages, including for scale-ups. There is also a need for an improvement in the capital market in order to have the another type of exit route available for these companies. And I would say that, I mean, Poland is a recognized success story if we look from the Romanian perspective. But Romania is also picking up in the sense that The Romanian capital market is evolving rapidly and nicely, and we have a market for startups that has been impressive this year, I would say. These would be the missing ingredients, and obviously we would need more solid stories in order to be able to sell them on the international market and have this type of international companies, but that are homegrown and developed locally, not having to move or relocate in order to find a market or an exit route or a larger investment.
So it's clear that from the financial point of view, there are more and more options for financing. I think the dynamic is very good for generating new investment funds. You very well told us about the growth market, like the aero market from the Bucharest Stock Exchange, which indeed this year was quite crowded with tech companies being listed there. And with all this income of money into the VC world, Mihaela, do you think there is a pipeline, enough startups in the tech, in deep tech, that can be generated by our region? Because it's clearly now that, especially in the next 2 years, there we will face a lot of new VCs, a lot of new investment in the area. Can we also provide now the startups? Because there are always two parts in this game.
Okay, when you are saying our region, I'm clearly
And I'll
going
go to
towards Bucharest Ilfov region, of course, not CEE, because I am here also with this goal.
Manager of
Okay, yes,
the
I
region.
have to do it. I have to do it, and I think that we have potential, and I will be marketing that. I should have been downstairs with the pitching because I have a 50 million euros project to sell. So if everybody hears me, you can contact me. So I have to sell something. And I think that I could even come with some EU financial support. So I think I'm a good deal. So yes, we have. And I'm referring to the fact that even if Romania, it's on the last position, let's say, in Europe on innovative companies, with only 20% of companies as being innovative. Bucharest Ilfov region has up to 50% of the companies classified as innovative. So
High
this means,
density
yes,
of
it's a high density in our region. And we are benefiting for a tremendous pool, let's say, of resources, and one of them are the research resources that we have in the platform in Măgurele, and this is we have there 11 research institutes. They are dealing with advanced materials, nuclear, advanced physics, ICT, of course, and biotechnology, which is up to, in our days, I think the most repeated words ever. So we have big resources there. So this is why we have decided to invest the money of the county and also hopefully EU funds and private if the case may be, but I think that we still have to prove, in a technological and transfer center located in Măgurele. It's a 50 million euros investment where we will try to bring businesses together with the researchers that we have there and to convince the researchers to take the next leap, which would be transforming themselves in entrepreneurs and using the results of their research into businesses. So I think, yes, I think at least we will be spending some money from those billions, hopefully.
This is great. And Mircea, do you see, because you're also involved in the CMS, in the investment, in the venture capital, do you see a lot of people establishing funds in Romania, in the region? What's the perspective of a legal counselor on the area?
I can no longer answer with yes. So I see there's a lot of room to improve it. There's presence, there's funds, there's debt funds, there's real estate funds, infrastructure funds, and so on. But there's a lot of potential growth. Things are not always going as we expect. And this area is, let's say, underinvested and underserviced. So yeah, we're facing an uphill road.
And there's room for
There is a lot of room. I mean, half full glass is that there's a lot of room.
A lot of room for development of new investment fund.
Yeah. People are not doing it as often as they could for various reasons. The models are working now. Let's see if we can passport them to local and regional realities.
Okay, and going to Nicu about startups, because you dealt with now in Novix BCR with almost 100 startups, you've been mentoring for them and understanding them. How do you think, what is the relationship between now startups and risk?
Just to cut a long story short, I would say that they rather tend to think very narrowly instead of thinking big. And this is where we at Innovix BCR contribute a lot, including bringing that knowledge from business and competitive intelligence and risk management theories and helping them to better understand how to deal with all those problems they face within the growing phases. So basically, just as an example, a startup focuses on how to get and save money, but it's not enough anyway. They have to deal with a much more complex environment, with referring to the market, product, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of topics there that we introduce to them, providing from that world I've mentioned, structure, reason, content, and trust.
Which is extremely important, especially for companies that have the ambition to grow and go outside Romania, CEE, and worldwide. Now a final question for all of you, starting with you, Nicu, and then passing the mics to the other. What do you think will be the next areas of investments in the next year? It might be an industry, it might be a trend. What do you think about it?
As you've mentioned at the very beginning of this panel, I'm not necessarily an expert in this field, but being biased, I would say that cybersecurity would be a very good investment, as we live in this virtual world where we are really facing a lot of challenges coming from this kind of technologies.
What about you, Mihaela?
I would say waste management and circular economy, it's the biggest problem that we have at central and local administration. So, and a lot of money is coming out of waste, you know. So I think that you should be looking into that.
Very good.
Yeah, I actually agree with Mihaela. Climate, I think, is the next big thing, including climate tech, circular economy, edu tech, I would say. That's another trend that is picking up nicely in Romania. We already know enterprise SaaS and cybersecurity, AI, but I would stick with climate if I have to pick only one. Thank you.
Nice. Mircea.
So we're obviously in disagreement because I think there's going to be a lot of focus on medtech and maybe even fintech. So yeah, let's have a spread.
And because there are so many verticals area of investment that need a lot of investment, I just would like to announce that starting with spring 2022, we'll launch the next Innovix BCR VC Accelerator bootcamp for incorporating and for fueling the new generation of investors in the region. I'm Daniel Dumitrescu from Innovix BCR, and thank you for being with us tonight.